if you're emotionally threatened, who cares?
That's my point. You're emotionally threatened by all of this. So
feelings mean nothing in the world. No one cares about how you feel except yourself and maybe your mother.
Hello all, Jace here. Today we've got a video from Charlie Kirk that he uploaded a couple of days ago where he had a little conversation with a liberal, I'm guessing, college student. The video itself is only about 5 minutes long. I'm going to go ahead and just let it run, and then I will share my thoughts with you guys after it's done. Thanks.
I mean, just the whole environment with this and the cameras and everything, to me, is like not conducive to healthy conversation. I think it's inherently threatening to a lot of people.
I'm sitting behind the table with my arms.
You're not physically threatening me. I don't think you, I mean...
But then, if you're emotionally threatened, who cares?
That's my point. You're emotionally threatened by all of this. So
feelings mean nothing in the world. No one cares about how you feel except yourself and maybe your mother. Okay. Feelings are irrelevant.
Well, you're here sharing your feelings with everyone.
No, I'm sharing my logic, my facts and thoughts. I haven't told you once how I feel. There's a difference. Feelings and facts are two different biochemical systems in how the mind and the body operates. Feelings are based on emotion, rising blood levels, blood pressure, so on and so forth. Facts and logic are over long periods of time through reflection and through using math, science, and analysis of data.
Disagree.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not telling anyone how I feel, I'm telling people how I think. It's a big difference.
Okay.
5% of Border Patrol agents support building the wall. Art Del Curo, who is the vice president of the Border Patrol Association, has publicly said it and released that data. You can ask yourself, what percentage of Border Patrol agents support building the wall?
I'd support something that helped my job security too.
Okay, but Border Patrol agents are threatened, assaulted, and killed on the front lines by people that come across the border.
This is such a false narrative. There's no war zone going on.
What about the people in Mexico, though?
It's like 0.001% that's MS-13, and Trump puts this narrative.
Okay, so let's look at the facts. So illegal immigrants committed 54,000 assaults last year. What
are the numbers of actual citizens that committed worse?
But the illegals shouldn't be here in the first place. That's the point. Yes. Correct.
You know, we all live on the same planet. Borders are made up, man. The planet's dying.
Okay, so great question. Why do borders matter? Because borders are a distinction and a physical delineation of when good ideas start and bad ideas start. For example,
are you saying the United States is the good side and the other side?
Without a doubt, our laws are much more moral than the laws in Mexico, without a shadow of a doubt. We have due process, we have cross-examination of witnesses, we have the rule of law.
I don't agree that the U.S. government system is better than the Mexican system.
The Mexican Constitution is not even comparable to the United States Constitution.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so would you agree that where North Korea ends and South Korea ends, that line means something?
I think that is...
Or when East and West Germany ends?
False equivalency.
So if you believe in a...
North Korean border situation has no equivalent in the modern world.
No, but I'm saying borders...
As a comparison to the U.S.-Mexico.
Borders matter. Oh, you just said they don't matter. We're on the same earth.
They matter when it's a communist dictatorship state that literally kills people.
What about
the Holocaust?
What about a lawless country like Mexico that is run by cartels?
Say that again, sir.
Lawless.
Say that again.
Mexico. Okay, how many politicians were killed during the last election cycle? 580 politicians were killed in Mexico last year running for political office. The cartels run the country of Mexico.
Okay. You can't refer to the whole place as lawless.
Mexico is generally not the greatest place in North America right now.
Yeah, so the solution is to not let them come here, right?
No, well, the solution is a lot of different things. First and foremost, you protect your own country because you care about your citizens, not because you hate the people on the outside. Secondly, if the walls don't work, why does Mexico have a wall on their southern border with Guatemala?
Are you saying that wall works? I don't know.
Yes, it does. It works quite well.
What are you using to prove that metric?
You know what happens
when it work?
Well, because they have lower illegal immigration rates from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador coming in their country than we do with Mexico and the United States.
100%.
What happens when you know what happens when you illegally immigrate to Mexico? You get deported back to your home country. Why don't we do the same? That's one thing they do right.
Sounds like we should let them over here to
I'm pretty sure we do that all the time, right?
No, we have that we know of, 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. And it's not fair to the legal immigrants from Bulgaria or from Ukraine or from Central Africa that had to wait many decades
Nobody
to come
needs
in
to
this country.
escape Bulgaria, okay?
Well, they
People
did. They
need to
did after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Okay, well, how about people in Honduras who are being killed
Sure,
in the streets?
we should allow more legal immigrants into America.
Oh, okay.
Legal immigrants and border jumpers are two totally different things. Those that decide not to fill out the forms to come into America.
So if we get here, instead of sending them back, we should keep their child and send the parents back.
I've never said anything close to that.
That's why are there 2,500 ICE kids still not united with their parents?
You mean the 50?
Their parents got sent back to their home
So
countries.
first of all, the ICE facilities that you're talking about, most of their parents are not even actually their parents. They're being illegally trafficked across the southern border.
But see, this is how the arguments work. You just make these generic sort of
Well,
things.
it's not generic. The Department of Justice did an audit of the ICE facilities, and more than 50% of the people bringing these kids across the southern border were not their parents. They're being sex trafficked across the southern border.
I don't believe that the 2,500
Okay, you don't believe
kids
it. Okay, so then we don't have anything to talk about.
Well, see, but that's where the debates break down in the modern society. I don't believe you, you don't believe me, and now I'm going to go to class. That's
well, I mean,
life.
I said facts, and you
You're
haven't.
not enabling discussion and exchange of facts to a mutual understanding. It's just like.
So how is it fair to the immigrants of the rest of the world that 15 million people illegally cross the border and should be rewarded for that?
If you're coming from a country
Well,
where
no.
you're going to die,
Okay,
then we
that's
should let
exactly
you
right.
live.
Who cares about being fair? We should be equitable, right? In our immigration policy?
I agree with the things you're saying. I don't agree with the general metrics, like 95% of them are MS-13 or
Okay, I didn't say
every
that.
single
I said
child who's alone,
95% of Border Patrol agents support building the wall when they were serving.
You do not make compelling arguments.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So nice little conversation there that Charlie had with that kid. I think there's a lot there to discuss, and I think it's important to have these conversations because I do believe that kid echoes the sentiment of a lot of people as it pertains to illegal immigration, and the other guy that kind of chimed in here and there, like it's just no big deal. I will say, first things first, for this guy and for anybody else that's about to go into a conversation, put down your freaking submarine sandwich or whatever. You are not going to be taken seriously in the middle of a discussion if you're eating during it. So just PSA for everybody. If you happen to be eating, put it down. Don't sit there chewing gum, things like that. You will not be taken seriously. But whatever. I think the main focus there, and Charlie alluded to it, is every time these sort of debates take place, and it's even worse on a college campus, but it's true everywhere. You'll get one side that drills you with facts. And then the other side, it's all about emotion. It's all about feelings. It's all about, well, this is the way this makes me feel. It kind of goes into the my truth thing. And for everyone who's watching, there is no my truth. You can have my feelings, you can have my belief, you can have my idea. There's just the one truth. And neither side of an argument usually completely hits that truth. It's usually somewhere in the middle, but there is no my truth. So Charlie presented a lot of facts, a lot of things that are absolutely going on. This kid talked about feelings. He made up stats. 0.0001% of the immigrants are MS-13 or whatever. But Trump blows up the numbers. Well, he clearly doesn't know what the numbers are. So how does he know Trump is blowing them up? If you want to get involved in that kind of a conversation, you should at least either have ammunition in your quiver to back up your claim, or don't claim that you have facts to back up what you're saying. It's completely reasonable for him to say, look, I'm just a college student. I walked by, you had a table set up. I'm willing to have a conversation with you, without saying that Charlie Kirk's facts are wrong or Donald Trump's facts are wrong. You can't say that if you don't have something to back it up. But the planet's dying, all the usual stuff. Borders are just made up lines. Well, that's true. Borders are made up by the nations. They're agreed upon and established. Here's the thing with that is those borders dictate whose laws you abide with. And that makes borders very important and not just some arbitrary line that means nothing. Couple of fun facts about Mexico. A foreigner cannot take part in political activities, and they need a valid tourist card or resident visa to be in that country. Novel thought. If you are detained for a drug charge, you can be detained for up to 2 years before a verdict is reached. Prosecutors can get judicial authorization to detain anyone for up to 40 days without charge for interrogation. The military, which they established their own National Guard, and the military can now, they can legally detain civilians, take charge of crime scenes, and preserve evidence. On top of all that, we all know the cartels run the whole country anyway. So with things like that in mind, I want to know whose border I'm on, whose side of the border I'm on. I want to know whose laws it is that I'm supposed to be adhering to. So borders are very important. Another thing about the illegal immigration. People say they're just hardworking folks who just want to come and provide for their families. And I completely understand that. I get it. I know the country, a lot of, you're talking about El Salvador, Honduras, a lot of these countries I wouldn't want to live in either. And the vast majority of people, if asked, would prefer to live in America. We have the greatest nation on the planet. That's why everybody wants to get in here. You still got to do it legally. If I go to any other country, if I decide I want to go live in France, I have to do it legally. If I don't, I'm going to get deported. If my visa expires, if I even get a visa, I'm going to get deported. If I want to stay there, if I want to be a part of their nation, then I've got to adhere to their laws. I've got to do it the right way, or I will be removed. I don't know why we think that would be any different for America, especially when you've got so many more people wanting to come here. And no one can argue that everybody that wants to come here has the best intentions. I mean, you talk about the fentanyl crisis, you talk about all the trafficking, you talk about, everything else. Clearly, there's plenty of people here that want to cause harm to this nation. So, of course, we have to secure our borders. Of course, we have to make sure that the people that are coming in are doing it the right way. They're properly documented. They're properly, that we know they're here and we can keep an eye on things. That just makes sense. A couple other things I will talk about. So the House Budget Committee created a report, and take it with a grain of salt, because all of these are post Biden presidency numbers, so they're skewed. They believe they've got it estimated that the unauthorized population in the country is about 11 million people, which is laughable. It's easily double that, but that's what they estimate is 11 million people. Approximately half of them, over half of them, come from either Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, India, or Honduras. Now, the U.S. estimated cost, what it costs us as a nation, what it costs us as taxpayers to have illegal immigrants here, that the House Budget Committee had found unequivocally that illegal immigrants receive much more in government services than they pay in taxes. It is a net drain on our economy, which is already in extremely bad shape. They estimate they receive $42 billion a year in welfare programs, 68 billion in education costs, 7 billion in emergency medical services. It's a net drain on our economy. Combine that with all of the crime, and I know that the other guy that chimed in said, well, what about all the crimes committed by U.S. citizens? Well, that's great, but that doesn't mean that these people need to be here. They don't need to be here adding to our crime issues that we already have. The illegal immigration on the surface, when people say, well, they're just coming here and they're working hard, well, they broke the law to get here. They were already a lawbreaker when they arrived. If I went out tomorrow and robbed a bank, no one would care that I spent the next 6 months working my butt off, paying my taxes, doing the right thing. When I get caught, I'm still going to be prosecuted for robbing that bank. My hands aren't clean going into the process, so nothing I do after is going to fix it. I had unclean hands before as soon as I started. So that's something to consider. I think that's about all I got. Oh, the only other thing I was going to mention, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit, and I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments about the Dreamers. I think the Dreamers is a really interesting debate, and I'm torn on it. Honestly, I am. You get people that are born here; their parents were illegal, but they obviously didn't do anything wrong. They didn't break any laws by being born. So what do you do? How do you handle them? You can't kick out the parents and leave the kids. And I think that's where I kind of sit on it, is whether they were born geographically in the United States or not, their parents are still lawbreakers that are still legally residents of another nation. So the whole family should be sent back to that nation. Where I think it gets trickier for me is if they were born here and they're now over 18, where they're not under the custody of their parents any longer. What do you do then? And honestly, I'm going to have to think on it. I don't really know what the best answer there is. I'm leaning toward they should be forced to go through the proper steps, and they should become legalized citizens, but I think they should have the opportunity to do that. That's kind of where I'm landing on this, but I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about that as well. And that's all I got. I love Charlie Kirk. I think he really gets into some interesting conversations with people. So whenever I saw this come across, I thought, well, we got to talk about it. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about it as well. So let me know. Like, comment, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. God bless you, and we will see you for the next one.